This is Let's Talk Business Radio with your host, Mark Ebinger. Now, here's Mark.
Welcome to Let's Talk Business, a radio show that highlights some of the best businesses in the San Antonio area. My name is Heather Boehm. I'm a business coach that helps business owners gain clarity on their goals, identify pain points, and then help them overcome those pain points to achieve the success they desire. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk with Matthew Skinner, an expert at video production for real estate properties and the owner of Skinner Productions here in San Antonio. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
We're also going to talk with Sterling Orgill, an expert at home pest control and the owner of Simpl Pest. Sterling, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm really proud to be here. Thanks.
In studio also with us today is Mark Ebinger, the owner of Crookus Marketing Agency that specializes in helping small businesses work with social media the right way to get more customers and increase their influence. Mark, great to have you back.
Great to be here, Heather, and it's a little bit weird. I'm just going to be honest, being on this side of the introduction, but I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, thanks. It's a little weird for me too, but I'm rolling with it. I'm kind of enjoying it. A quick reminder for our listeners that you can catch video and podcast versions of the show anytime by visiting the show's website at satalkradio.com. And if you are a business owner in the San Antonio area that would like to have your company featured on the show, visit the website at satalkradio.com or call the office at 210-960-8210. That's 210-960-8210. So first up on the show is Matthew Skinner, an expert at video production for real estate properties and the owner of Skinner Productions here in San Antonio. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Thank you once again for having me. It's a pleasure.
So tell me, how did you get involved in the video and photo production?
So that's a little bit of a long story, but in a nutshell, I actually started in front of the camera with Alamo City Comic-Con. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with it.
Nope, never heard of it.
Yeah, it was a big deal back in the day, but I started in front of the camera hosting for the YouTube channel, as well as doing all of their vendor coordinating for 500 plus vendors. So it's a lot of work, but I realized real quick how much I enjoyed the promotion side and being, in front of the camera, getting to meet people, getting to interview people. So it was a lot of fun, and from there, I started my own company called Fanboy Media and Art. It was my first company ever. And I was representing comic book artists in the industry. So all over the world, comic book artists, I would reach out to them and say, hey, let me get you into other Comic-Cons. We'd sell their original comic art. And I was living the dream. I was getting to travel for free. I was getting paid to be at these cool places that I wanted to be. And started getting a little more into video production and, using a camera. And I realized quickly I wanted to kind of leave part of that world and help other like-minded people who wanted to be in front of the camera or get comfortable or confident in front of the camera. And I did. And after COVID happened, or during COVID, I created my first documentary. It was it's called Marbockumentary, and it was on Marbach Road, the place I grew up at. And it was a lot of fun. I got real acclimated with the Adobe suite and learning to utilize those types of software and just educating myself in how to be better and more productive with those programs. And next thing I knew, Skinner Productions was here.
Wow.
Well, you're all about creating content for business owners now, right? I mean,
Correct.
that's the thing. So
That's the thing. Yeah.
is it affordable, really? Is it something that your
Absolutely.
average business owner can do? Are they spending money on video content? I know the power of it because I live in that world as
Sure.
well.
Yeah.
But some of the objections that we run up across is, well, they're going to fork out a certain amount of dollars for content. Then it's not only that, but it's also, what are you doing with that content? And I see
Correct.
Sterling over there nodding his head because he actually produces quite a bit of video
Yeah,
content,
yeah.
but he's using it everywhere. So
Correct.
it's not just the production, but it's the utilization of it to really
Absolutely.
leverage that dollar.
1,000%. So yes, it is very affordable, and it is how you utilize the content. So if you've noticed, everywhere people are on TikTok, getting tons and tons of engagement from, people all across the world. It is working, whether you're using TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of the above. It's incredibly important. It can help build your business, build your clientele, and I highly recommend it, the bottom line.
But what is it about video content that helps connect that business to the end consumer?
I feel that you have a relationship with, the business owner or the product that they're selling, because now, you get to put a voice or a face, to that versus just a photo. And you get to show what it is that you're actually doing. For instance, with Sterling, he's out there doing pest control, and being able to show how they're walking around a home very simply is going to really help give the client an understanding of how they can use the service, So it's as simple as that. Being able to visually see and hear, what it is that somebody is offering, I feel always makes a difference. We are visual learners. We're humans. That's what we want. We want to learn. We want to be educated. Our brains just are wired that way. So being able to showcase that and simplify it for social media, and all of us have ADD now with social media. Quick and simple is the way to be. And yes, yeah, it works.
Now, to your point, people are out there. They're getting content from what they're actually doing in the world. And we live in a day where our cell phones have better cameras on them than they could have ever imagined being in existence back when cameras were first getting popular. What's the difference in engagement and effect on just getting it off my phone versus having you do my professional videography?
So I feel that there's purposes for both. I feel that the content that I might be able to create for a client on quarterly content in more of a professional setting can have a different impact on educating a client. Now, utilizing your cell phone to grab content in between to kind of fill the gaps in your social media, I feel is super important and something that I always recommend. Now, most people are not doing the same type of editing on their cell phone. You don't get those cool motion graphics half the time. If they have apps on their phone that they might have the time to kind of do that type of thing, I do recommend it still. However, separating, a camera that's made to really pull the colors and having lighting to really accentuate the person or the subject that's being filmed is super important. However, I do feel that there is a need for the client or whoever is responsible for that company's cell phone in that video to really utilize that as well. They pair together excellent, and I always recommend both if possible.
Yeah, it's like combining the professionalism
Exactly.
with the personal side that is coming from your cell phone.
It keeps it authentic.
I agree with that too.
That's the thing about, like, with Sterling, if he's going to do a walk around, like while you're doing pest control, it connects me to you to what you're doing. And it's all about personal relationship, right? It's like that's a powerful thing, I think.
Absolutely.
There. What kind of businesses are you pairing with primarily now in your business?
So I do a lot, with different tax services, in the city, credit repair. I do a ton of real estate. I've been working closely with the Alzheimer's Association with some of their content as well. But content is for everybody. So I'm not limiting myself. If somebody needs my services, we're going to sit down and figure out what we can do and what we need to do to make that content for them. So.
And what does that look like, the process of contacting you and going from nothing to video?
So it depends on the client, really, right? How I like to handle it is I like to sit down. I like to at least speak over the phone once I get an email coming in or a text message or, a message on my social media saying, hey, we need some services. What do we need to do? And I feel it's important to understand what the client really needs. If I don't understand that, I can make content for them, but I want to make sure that it's something that their business is going to benefit from, something that they can bring cash flow back into themselves for, But once again, it depends on what the client wants. Sometimes, in the realtor world, they need photos and they needed them yesterday. So the talks on what needs to be done in those instances are sometimes, here's the address, can you do it? Send me an invoice. And it's as simple as that. But in other instances where I would like to know, maybe you have a coffee company or something. Okay, well, what is your specialty drink? What hours are you open? Do you have a specific roast that you want to push? Things like that are really important to understand. So the more that I can understand about a business, I feel the better production I can produce for them. And that really means a lot to me. If I'm giving a client something that they're not happy with, and I feel I haven't done enough on my side. And thankfully, I haven't had that. But I do feel that it is super important to understand everything that I possibly can about their business, because I'm a video production expert. I am not, a co-host for a radio. I'm not, I don't do, pest control and things like that. So the more understanding I have, just the better end value that we can produce.
So real quick, we're just about out of time on your segment there, but beer versus beans, What is it?
So Beard versus Beans is my brother and I's nonprofit work that we do for the Alzheimer's Association. We both hold chairs for the Alzheimer's Association, and we battle to raise awareness and donations. So we've got 2 5K, 10K runs that we host. One's an official fiesta event happening April 29th, and then our other is called the Longest Day 5K, happening in June, typically for the summer solstice, and that's happening June 29th. But we like to showcase that Alzheimer's disease needs to be eradicated, and we do it in a fun, playful way, and we get to banter. I get to make fun of my brother full time, so it's awesome.
Oh, that sounds fun. I wish I could do that as a full time. Well, if someone wants to get a hold of you and reach out about Alzheimer's or video, how can they do that?
You can reach out to me through my telephone number, 210-800-7922. Once again, that's 210-800-7922. Or you can shoot me an email. You can email me at create@skinnerproductions.com or Beard vs. Beans at info@beardversusbeans.com. You can check out skinnerproductions.com. I'm all over social media. Beard vs. Beans all over social media. So please reach out. Let's talk today.
Well, you've got a lot of options to reach out, so do it. And I think one of the big things here was creating the content. And the big part of that is if you create the content, we're hoping people actually use it. And one of the areas of your expertise, Mark, that you have done extremely well is hiring virtual assistants in the Philippines. So what areas of business do you outsource first to make sure that actual activity happens?
So keeping it real, when it comes to business, we've got to make our money back as quickly as possible, right? So when I started hiring, I needed to, of course, get certain things done, but I also needed to get stuff paid for. So the first job was how do I create more customers using the virtual assistant? And I was able to 3X my return on investment in the first 30 days, which really kind of helped my wife relax a little bit about getting involved in the outsourcing world, because she's thinking, well, why can't you just do everything yourself? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to actually grow a company here, not get trapped in a job. So yeah, that's the big thing is, getting that money covered. So appointment setting is huge, right? So when I go out, I do a lot of networking, I interact with a lot of people, and just having somebody set those appointments, follow up and make sure that the person gets appointment reminders, all of the things, right? The calendar's set, everything stays organized so that I can move quickly, allows me to do what my income income producing activities are, meeting with people. Ultimately, that's how I bring in more customers. And if I'm being slowed down by the whole process of managing a calendar, it is a huge deal for me when you do as many appointments as I do. So that was really a big thing for me, was just getting ROI and getting my appointments taken care of.
And I know in the business world and in general, the fortune's in the follow-up. It's in reaching out and talking to people. But a lot of business owners I talk to, they're hesitant because they feel like if it's not them, it won't be done as a high level. Where do you see virtual assistants fitting into that?
So first thing is, I believe strongly that if you are going to build a company, that you cannot be that customer service representative. As much as we'd like to, if you have anything, you can call me anytime, day or night. I don't sleep. I'm here for you. That just doesn't work when you're going to scale at all. So I set that expectation from the word go, is that I have a customer service rep that follows along to make sure that there is a point of contact always available to you, and that my company is properly represented, and I can continue to scale and still meet those expectations. Because if I start to falter at that and people expect to get a hold of me when they call and they don't because I'm in a meeting, and I'm not going to interrupt the meeting by answering a phone call. That's extremely rude to do that unless it's an emergency or some type of situation. But other than that, I don't do that. So, but those expectations need to be set early.
Yeah, and I think we can all agree expectations and communications in business are humongous. Even if something goes wrong, we can generally overcome it by just having those two things aligned. So if someone wants to talk to you more about this and is interested in learning more, how do they do that?
Just reach out to my office at 210-960-8210. That's 210-960-8210, or go to my website at crukus.com. That's CRUKUS.com. And yes, when you call the number, it will not be me that answers that phone call.
I love that. Next up on the show is Sterling Orgill, an expert at home pest control and the owner of Simpl Pest. Sterling, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Really happy to be here.
All right, Sterling. So how did you get involved in the pest control world?
You know, kind of a funny story. We started a pool business in 1984 here in San Antonio. And about 9 years ago, our pool customers started calling us up, and it was a really wet year here in San Antonio. And they're like, hey, what can you do for us? We can't even use our pool. We can't go outside. We can't even enjoy it. And it literally took like 100 phone calls before I really kind of said, maybe we should do something about this. And that kind of started us down the road of how can we take care of, mosquito problems for our pool customers, and how can we take care of these other nuisances that are around their home or their office.
So do most of your customers have pools right now?
Most of our customers have pools. Yeah, that was really kind of our core part of our business, but we've definitely had a lot of growth, especially with our mosquito traps. That we just get phone calls every day on people that want a solution to really what they're experiencing.
Yeah, I can imagine having mosquitoes all around while you're trying to enjoy your pool is not an experience that you'd want to have.
Yeah, definitely not ideal, especially everybody that I figure, landscaping is really like the hidden cost on all real estate. You want to make it look great, but every time you create shade and every time you have like little pockets of water, it's going to create mosquitoes, and they're going to be around, just everywhere, and it kind of ruins the environment.
So relating landscaping and mosquitoes, I see you brought a prop today. Tell me about your non-toxic mosquito plant traps.
Yeah, so this non-toxic mosquito trap that I have that's just sitting right here behind me, it was developed in Costa Rica. And so there was actually a problem that was going on in the zoos there where animals were contracting diseases through these mosquitoes. And so they really needed to solve the problem. And it was a Stanford think tank that really thought up the whole design of the mosquito trap itself. And really the technology behind it is a mosquito glue board that can catch mosquitoes. And so when they fly in through this trap, the mosquito glue board is able to capture them, whether they're in the air or whether they land on the mosquito glue board. And the reason that they're attracted to the mosquito trap is really, it's really basic. It's CO2 that we're creating. And so everybody that breathes or sweats or anything like that is creating, this attractant for mosquitoes. So we do the same, but we're just creating an environment that they think they can lay their eggs in and breed within the water there. But we're really just trying to capture them on the glue board. And the technology is amazing because every female mosquito that we trap, it prevents 1,000 from breeding. So slowly, over 6 months, we can reduce the mosquito population around a home or office or business or wherever by 93%. And so as long as we keep the traps out and we maintain them, we can really create a big dent in the mosquito population. So you're going to see less mosquitoes. You're going to have less mosquitoes biting you or anything like that because they're just not around. They get captured on the glue board.
One of the things I love about what you're doing is I do not like the fogging that goes on with the mosquito stuff, right? That just does not look healthy at all. And, it's like, I don't want you fogging around my house. That just it looks nasty, right? But you have these great little plants set up, so you hardly even notice that they're there.
Yeah.
And then they work, for how long? And then they're non-toxic, right? But tell us, they're safe for pets and kids, and how long do they last?
Yeah, that's a great comment, Mark. So they are safe for kids or pets. You could knock them over. It's actually just water and a little bit of grass and organic material that we're creating the CO2 with. And so it's really no one can get hurt from this mosquito trap at all. And then the fogging has its own, I guess, place and time that you're going to do it. If you're having a big party and you don't live there, you maybe have like an event center or something like that, you could fog around there to kind of get a knockdown of the mosquitoes. But you're right. It leaves a layer of pesticide everywhere.
Yeah.
And that can be dangerous or toxic, to kids or animals or pets. But that's one thing that you can avoid with these mosquito traps. It's really a long-term solution to handle an immediate problem that you have around your home or your office.
How long does it last? So you set it up, and then how often do you change them out?
So we change them out on our quarterly services, and we include as many mosquito traps as you need, around your home or your area that we're trying to reduce the mosquito populations. We just started putting out our traps at some soccer fields that are experiencing the same kind of mosquito nuisance for their players. When they're trying to coach, they can't really pay attention because there's just so many mosquitoes annoying all the players, and everyone's distracted, even the coaches. So we're able to handle these huge areas, but most of our customers are residential customers, and we set them up around their home, and we can put them in strategic places to really reduce that population there.
That's really important because especially with young kids too, now that I have them, I'm like, I see a mosquito bite, I just feel so bad.
Oh, yeah.
But the driving question in everybody's mind is, what does something like this run you?
So typically, like I had mentioned before, we include this in our quarterly service. Our quarterly services are $70 a month. It's $70.99 a month, and we come out every quarter, every 90 days, and we're going to actually treat inside the house and outside the house with our basic knockdown spray. So if you have wasp or any 200 different types of pests, we're going to handle those. We also set out rodent bait stations, so we're going to reduce the rodent population around your home. And then we're also going to install termite bait stations in the ground, as well as, a termiticide to keep any of those termites that come in on the swarms or anything like that. And then we also include our mosquito traps. So we do a lot. We really want to solve the problems that everyone has as opposed to charging you piecemeal. We're not just trying to kill the mosquitoes and then leave you with the rest of the problems at your home. We want you to be bug-free completely. And so you don't have to worry about it, so you can enjoy your home or your oasis or office or wherever it is.
That sounds great and all-inclusive, which I love an all-inclusive deal. So if someone wants to get a hold of you and get your services going, how can they do that?
They can reach us on our website, it's verysimple.com, or they can call our office. It's 210-651-5444. We're always available. You can call or text that number too, and we're pretty responsive right away.
And I see real quick you've got a deal that you were offering here.
We do, yeah. We're offering $50 off the initial service for any of our new customers that are coming on that want to sign up on quarterly service. And also, too, I forgot to mention this, but if there is something that pops up in between the quarterly services, we come out for free. Let's say there's a rainstorm or something like that and an anthill pops up. We're going to come out and treat it and get rid of it, and no extra charge for something like that.
Okay, well, that's Simpl Pool and Pest. So reach out if you are needing your pest control services or a pool service done by them.
Yeah, I love the mosquito services. I'm a huge fan. So, Heather, let's talk about leverage a little bit. So, you know me, I'm not building a job for myself. I'm building an actual company, right? I'm looking to stair-step my way out of it. But hiring isn't always the easiest thing for businesses to do, right? So what are some of the things as a business coach, how do you help businesses really in that area of leverage and hiring?
So with leverage and hiring, a lot of the times we run into the roadblock of trust. You think, this is my baby, this is my business, I care about it more than anyone else, which is true.
Yep.
You do. So it's hard to, especially that first hire, take that step and do it. And so for me, working with my clients there, first we've got to identify a need for it. A lot of the times we find people that have created themselves a job instead of a business. You are doing everything. You're doing the video, you're answering the phones, you're out doing pest control services, and it just gets exhausting. So first things first is identifying why you need that leverage, and then trying to shift that mindset from I can't trust somebody to do it to how valuable is it going to be for me to trust someone?
Well, see, that's the mindset. So, Sterling, you have employees now, right?
I do. I have 15.
Okay, so do you remember back when you hired your first employee and letting go of some of that control? Do you remember that space? Can you build on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think probably the most vulnerable one is when you're hiring someone that's going to handle your money, on the inside. Someone who's going to take checks or post them or something like that. That's always like a scary move, giving up control of the money, that's definitely one that's going to make you nervous and really kind of want to make you background check and figure out who you're really hiring. You better know them really well or something like that. It can be really daunting.
How do you help folks with that part of it? Because, it's really that mindset you're talking about, but that's a big push.
Absolutely. Well, first, I would ask you, Sterling, what did it do for your business to hire that person to take that leap?
Oh, there's so much. Yeah, it just the advantages to having someone be able to do that portion of the business for you frees you up to do a lot more. And I think Mark said this, earlier when we were talking about virtual assistants, about setting expectations. It's really important to set expectations for new employees, but the benefits, of what you're able to do after that kind of opens up a whole new world. You can be able to pay attention to other customers. You can be able to add more content. You can be able to work on your business instead of in the business. I really believe that all the way.
That's huge. Working on your business instead of in it is something I talk to people about every single day. So one key exercise I do with my clients when they are resisting that, because it can be really difficult to overcome that hump of trust, I do a value of time exercise. So generally as business owners, we all know what it is that we do best, that pours into the business, that helps it grow. So my question to clients that are facing this issue is, if you did that for 10 extra hours a week, take everything off the table, and all you did was what you are best at, how much more business would you do? How much business would you gain that week? So a great example of this is like real estate. That's the world I built my first business in. So I always show this example. I was great at building relationships. That was where I excelled, and I talked to people and they knew they could trust me. So my answer to that is that if I spent 10 extra hours a week instead of doing paperwork or, following up with listing agents, and I spent that calling my past clients and chatting with them and asking them who they knew I could help, I could generally get at least 3 referrals. And if I was conservative, say, convert one of them from a referral to someone actually helping them buy or sell a home. And here in San Antonio, with averages, that's about $5,600 that I could generate just from 10 hours a week. So in this exercise, I take that and I say, okay, you spent 10 extra hours a week. Take that number of dollars you generated and divide it by 10. What's your hourly wage now?
Yeah, that's a lot.
For me, it was $560 an hour.
Yeah, that's like a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
But I think we fool ourselves in that we get ourselves busy and we think we're moving that needle, right? We think we're doing something positive, and when we're actually not. We're actually throttling our business back. So, I mean, this is kind of a big area for you that you're going to be dealing with clients on a regular basis, that whole mindset. So
Absolutely.
If folks want to get in touch with you, Heather, how do they do that?
So if they want to get in touch with me, they can text me at 210-909-7673. That's 210-979-7673. I'm offering a free strategy session to anybody who comes in from the radio show. So I'd love to chat with you and figure out where we can increase that value of time for you.
All right, as we wrap up the show, quick reminder, check out our latest podcast and video versions of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for us for this week. Was it as easy as you guys thought it would be?
It was, and I had a blast. So thank you.
I was going to say the same thing, man. It's a total blast being here. Thanks.
Awesome.
Bonus when you're not miserable.
All right, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.